A train so long that it was impossible to see both ends at the same time, a rocket that weighed 3,000 tons when fully fueled, a hovercraft that drives straight out of the ocean and onto the beach while carrying tanks. Part 1 covered 8 of the largest vehicles ever built. These are the ones that didn't make the cut. Subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications so you don't miss what's coming next. Leave a like to support the channel, and let's get into the list.
Number 10. TI-class supertankers. There are large ships, there are very large ships, and then there are vessels so extreme they required an entirely new classification just to describe them. The TI-class supertankers, TI Africa, TI Asia, TI Europe, and TI Oceania were built in the early 2000s and belong to the ULCC category, ultra-large crude carriers. Each vessel stretches hundreds of meters in length and was designed to carry millions of barrels of crude oil across oceans in a single voyage. When fully loaded, these ships sit so deep in the water that certain ports and straits around the world simply cannot accommodate them. The routes have to be planned around their own size. The vessel doesn't adapt to the infrastructure. The logistics of the entire trip adapt to the vessel. Operating one of these ships is closer to running a floating industrial facility than navigating a conventional ship. The crew manages systems spread across hundreds of meters of hull, monitoring cargo that represents hundreds of millions of dollars of value moving slowly across the planet at speeds most people could outrun on a bicycle. Number 9. Hogue Target. From the outside, the Hogue Target looks like an enormous rectangular box floating in the ocean, which is essentially what it is, and that shape exists for a very specific reason. This vessel was designed from the ground up to transport vehicles, not containers, not bulk cargo, not crude oil, cars, trucks, and heavy equipment, driven on and driven off through massive internal ramps. At around 200 meters in length and over 36 meters wide, the Hogue Target features multiple internal decks dedicated entirely to vehicle storage. Its capacity reaches approximately 8,500 car-equivalent units in a single voyage. That number is difficult to process until you convert it into something more visual. If you lined up every vehicle on board end to end, the resulting queue would stretch for dozens of kilometers. Every car that crosses an ocean to reach a dealership on the other side of the world passes through vessels like this one. The global automotive industry depends on ships most people have never heard of, doing a job most people have never thought about.
Number 8. BHP Iron Ore Train, Australia. In Western Australia, enormous trains carry iron ore hundreds of kilometers from inland mines to coastal port facilities. The distances involved are so large and the volume so extreme that the trains themselves had to become something beyond what most people would recognize as a train. In 2001, a BHP operation set a world record that has rarely been approached since. The train used 8 locomotives and 682 wagons. When fully assembled and connected, the total length of the formation reached approximately 7.35 kilometers. Standing at one end, the other end would be completely out of sight. The total weight of the loaded train exceeded 99,000 tons, making it the heaviest train ever recorded. The iron ore alone accounted for over 82,000 tons of that figure. 8 locomotives working in coordination to move a formation nearly 8 kilometers long across hundreds of kilometers of Australian outback, loaded with enough raw material to build entire city blocks of steel structures. Most of these trains today run with minimal crew, monitored remotely, controlled by systems that track every wagon in real time across the entire formation. Kilometers of moving metal crossing a desert, largely on its own.
Number 7. Saturn V. Every other vehicle on this list was built to move things across the Earth. The Saturn V was built to leave it entirely. Standing approximately 111 meters tall, the equivalent of a 36-story building, the Saturn V remains one of the most powerful machines ever operated by human beings. Fully fueled, it weighed close to 3,000 tons. The first stage alone used 5 F1 engines that together produced approximately 34 million newtons of thrust at launch, enough force to lift the entire structure off the ground and continue accelerating it through the atmosphere. The sound generated at launch was so extreme it caused physical vibrations in structures miles from the pad. Engineers had to develop water suppression systems just to prevent the acoustic entropy from destroying the rocket on the launch pad before it could leave. 13 Saturn V rockets were launched between 1967 and 1973. 12 humans walked on the moon because of them. The rocket was retired in 1973, and for decades nothing of comparable power flew again. It remains the only vehicle in history purpose-built to carry human beings to another world, and to bring them back.
Number 6. The American Dream Limousine. Not every vehicle on this list was built to solve an industrial problem. Some were built to answer a different kind of question entirely. How far can this actually go? The American Dream started as a customization project by builder J. Orberg, who began extending a series of Cadillac Eldorados until the results stopped resembling anything with a conventional purpose. The final version measures over 30 meters in length, longer than many commercial aircraft, and rides on 26 wheels. Because something that long cannot navigate a turn the way a normal vehicle can, the limousine was built with an articulated section in the middle, allowing the front and rear portions to angle independently. Without it, the vehicle simply couldn't move through anything but a perfectly straight road. The interior over the years has included a swimming pool, a hot tub, a helipad, and various lounge areas. For a long period, the car sat abandoned and deteriorating in a warehouse. It was later acquired and restored, reclaiming its Guinness World Record for the longest car in the world. It serves no practical transportation purpose. It exists because someone decided to find out where the limit was and then kept going past it.
Number 5. Zuber-class hovercraft. Most military vehicles have to choose between operating on land or operating on water. The Zuber-class hovercraft was built specifically to ignore that choice. At over 50 meters in length, the Zuber is among the largest hovercraft ever constructed. Its operating principle is straightforward in concept and extraordinary in execution. Powerful fans pressurize a cushion of air beneath the hull, lifting the entire vessel off the surface and allowing it to move across water, beach, and flat terrain without any of the limitations that restrict conventional ships. This means a Zuber can approach a coastline at high speed, drive directly up onto a beach, and deploy its cargo, which can include multiple main battle tanks, armored vehicles, or hundreds of troops, without requiring a port, a dock, or any prepared landing infrastructure. Top speed on water reaches approximately 60 knots. For a vessel carrying tanks, that speed is difficult to reconcile with the size and weight involved. The Zuber doesn't navigate around the boundary between sea and land. It simply crosses it as if it isn't there.
Number 4. Antonov An-225 Mriya. For decades, no aircraft came close to what the Antonov An-225 Mriya represented. Built in Soviet Ukraine and originally designed to carry the Buran space shuttle on its back, the An-225 was the largest aircraft ever flown by total weight and payload capacity. 6 engines, a wingspan exceeding 88 meters, a fuselage 84 meters long, a landing gear system using 32 wheels to distribute a takeoff weight that could exceed 640 tons. The cargo hold alone was large enough to carry items that simply had no other means of air transport. In one of its most famous missions, the An-225 transported a single generator weighing approximately 187 tons, setting a world record for the heaviest single piece of cargo ever moved by air. Only one An-225 was ever completed and flown. It was destroyed in February 2022 during the Russian invasion of Ukraine at Hostomel Airport near Kyiv. A second airframe that had been partially constructed for decades was also reported damaged beyond repair. The aircraft that existed as the undisputed largest ever flown is gone. What remains is the record of what it carried and the understanding that nothing currently in operation does what it did.
Number 3. Laterno L2350. A standard front loader is already a large piece of equipment. The Laterno L2350 belongs to a different category entirely, one where the machine itself becomes the reference point that makes everything around it look small. Built for heavy mining operations, the L2350 is one of the largest wheeled loaders ever manufactured. Its bucket capacity allows it to lift over 70 tons of material in a single scoop. When the arm is fully raised, the machine reaches heights comparable to a multi-story building. The tires are perhaps the most immediately striking feature. Each one stands approximately 4 meters tall, taller than most rooms, larger in diameter than most passenger vehicles are long. A single replacement tire costs more than most people earn in several years. A full set represents a capital expenditure that would fund the purchase of dozens of houses. In a working mine, the L2350 operates alongside trucks like the Liebherr T284 from Part 1, loading vehicles that are themselves already enormous, filling them in a small number of passes rather than the dozens a smaller machine would require. 2 giants working together, each one incomprehensible in scale until you see the other one beside it.
Number 2. P&H 4100. Most large excavators use hydraulic systems to move their arms and enormous cables to control movements, a system that allows it to generate the kind of force that hydraulics alone struggle to match at this scale. The bucket on a P&H 4100 can handle over 80 tons of material per cycle, depending on configuration. Electric motors drive the cables that control the dipper arm, pulling the bucket through rock and earth with enough force to fill a mining truck in a small number of passes. The machine runs on electricity supplied via trailing cables, which means it doesn't carry fuel and doesn't produce exhaust in the traditional sense. In a mine operating dozens of pieces of heavy equipment simultaneously, that distinction matters, both logistically and in terms of operating cost over years of continuous use. What the P&H 4100 does, it does repeatedly, without stopping, for the duration of a mining shift. Fill a truck, swing back, fill another,
every movement deliberate, every cycle removing dozens of tons. The scale only becomes fully clear when a fully loaded mining truck pulls away and another immediately takes its place.
Number 1. Bagger 293. Everything on this list was built because a conventional machine couldn't do the job. The Bagger 293 was built because even the largest conventional excavators couldn't keep up with the scale of what was being asked. Standing approximately 96 meters tall and stretching 225 meters in length, the Bagger 293 is frequently cited as the largest land vehicle ever built by total mass. Over 14,000 tons of steel and machinery that moves, slowly, on a system of enormous crawler tracks. The principle it operates on is the bucket wheel, a massive rotating wheel at the front of the machine, studded with buckets positioned around its circumference. As the wheel turns, each bucket scoops material from the face being excavated and deposits it onto a conveyor belt system that runs the length of the machine, moving the material continuously away from the working face without requiring the machine to stop and reposition. The result is continuous excavation. No pause to dump, no repositioning cycle, no waiting. The Bagger 293 simply advances into the material and removes it, at a rate that can reach hundreds of thousands of cubic meters per day. Its top speed on those crawler tracks is approximately half a kilometer per hour. At that speed, crossing a typical city block would take the better part of an hour. But speed was never the requirement. The requirement was scale. And on that measure, the Bagger 293 has few rivals among anything ever built and driven across the surface of the Earth. A train 8 kilometers long, carrying 100,000 tons. A rocket that abandoned the planet entirely. A hovercraft that drives out of the ocean. A machine 225 meters long that eats through terrain continuously without stopping. None of these were built for spectacle. Every one of them exists because someone identified a problem. Moving ore, crossing oceans, reaching the moon, removing a mountain. And the answer required something that had never existed before. The size wasn't the point. The size was the consequence. Drop a like if part 2 delivered. Subscribe and hit the bell. And if you missed part 1, it's on the channel. Comment below which one from either list is the most insane to you. We read every single comment.